With dual avatar, you can catch these hands. Yo, what's up, guys? Abe here with finally a deck I've been trying to make for a while, but they didn't have they had support obviously, but it wasn't the same until the new card came out in Blazing Vortex, which is the dual avatar. I don't even know its name. Dual avatar empowered Mitsujaku. Finally, we get the other version of the empowered Gongyo. But yeah, so I did want to make this deck profile a while back, but like I said, we still didn't have the new guy, which is the feet version of the fist guy, whatever you want to call it or whatever it is. But now that we finally have that card in Blazing Vortex, I finally put the deck together. So this is my take on dual avatar, and let's get started. So for the monsters, I don't want to say what sucks about this deck, but the one thing hindering this deck is the fact that there's only 2 main deck monsters. So obviously we're going to play multiples of the dual avatar fist, Yugi. So his effect is you destroy a dual avatar monster you control, or you target a dual avatar monster you control, destroy it, and then you add a dual avatar spell from your deck to your hand. So obviously he gets your spells from deck to hand. Second, if a dual avatar fusion using an effect monster as material is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can add them back from graveyard to hand. So probably a lot of these cards a lot of you may not know about, or maybe didn't really care to look, because like I said, they're the one of the archetypes in when they came out in Phantom Rays that kind of got overlooked. But nonetheless, I think they're cool. But that's his effect. And then for the second monster is the dual avatar feat, Kokoku. If this card is no more special summon, you can add a dual avatar trap from your deck to your hand. And then his second effect, which is a little longer, which I'm going to be reading right now, is if a face-up dual avatar monsters you control, except itself, is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you can apply this effect. You destroy a dual avatar monster you control, and if you do, special summon a dual avatar fusion monster from your extra deck. So it helps to bring out these fusions a lot easier, albeit they won't be properly fusion summoned, but that way you can just always try to have presence on board with this card. I honestly don't use that effect as much as I would like to, but if it does come up, it's a really neat effect. But usually you would use this to get your traps out, which we don't play too much of the traps, but there are still some that you do want from the deck that really help out the whole strategy with the deck. But yeah, you gotta play 3 of this, and like I said, these are the only 2 main deck monsters, the Yugi and the Kokoku. So I think you have to max out on that. And because it is a fusion based archetype, and since I said there's not too many main deck monsters, I just wanted to add something to help the fusion, the whole fusion thing with the deck. It can kind of sometimes, I don't want to say again the way, but I play Alistair in the deck, so just my take on why I added Alistair was just one, to help fusion summon with invocation, especially because you can summon a bunch of tokens with one of the spells that we'll talk about later, but also it just puts a presence on board, because if your opponent doesn't do anything with the Alistair, usually you would summon out like a free Makaba. So that's why I just put in here, just so your plays aren't too linear, and it makes your opponent have to like second guess what they want to stop, because you do want your other effects to resolve. And also Alistair, even if you don't use normal summon effect to get the invocation, you can at least use it to power up your own dual avatar monsters, so that way you can get over things. So that's why we play the triple Alistair. Now for hand traps, these are just the ones I put in the deck, but obviously you can put whatever you feel is best. I play triple Veiler because one, it's a light target, so it helps out summon Makaba, and then 2, just good to stop monster effects. So that's why we play triple of this. And then also we play double Ogre. The other thing is as well, it is a light, so it just helps make Makaba a lot easier. And also just to get rid of the card on the field instead of still it being on the field. So that's why I just played the 2 of. And now we go on to the spells. So for the field spell that Dual Avatar has, it's called Perfect Sync Island. The one thing I would say about this card that sucks is that it's not called a dual. It's not called Dual Avatar, so you can't search it out with Yugi, which really blows. But nonetheless, it's still a good card. So you have to either hard draw it or search it out with the terraforming. So let's just read its effect for those who are not familiar. When it's activated, you get to add a Dual Avatar monster from your deck to your hand, and then if you control a Dual Avatar effect monster, you can special summon a token, but you can only fusion summon from the. You can only special summon monsters from the extra deck. For the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the turn except fusion monsters, and then you can only activate one per turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. You can only activate it once per turn. So usually the thing is, you would activate this, you search out your Yugi, you summon the Yugi, you use the effect to get a token, you pop the token, and you get the spell. The next spell, which we'll be talking about, which is the Broken spell. But yeah, it just sucks that this card is not called Dual Avatar, or doesn't have Dual Avatar in its name, and also even in the text it doesn't say this counts as a Dual Avatar card. But yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, that's all I can say about that card. Alright guys, for the next card, which is probably the best card in the deck, is we play triple Dual Avatar Invitation. So if you don't know what this card does, you discard a card, and if you do, special summon as many Dual Avatar tokens. They're light, warrior, level 2, 0/0. That's your stat line. And also for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except fusion monsters for the rest of this turn. And all the tokens you control cannot be tributed, or they can't be used, and they're also destroyed during the end phase. And then the second part, which is after summoning these tokens, you can apply this effect up to twice, and basically it lets you fusion summon twice. So you fusion summon one Dual Avatar fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. You only activate one invitation per turn. So in theory, you would have your Yugi, you can summon out 4 tokens, you fusion summon into either, well, with the Yugi, you have to summon Empowered Yugioh, or if you have feet, which it probably wouldn't really work out because you won't be able to search unless you hard draw it, you can go into the Empowered Mitsu Jaku. So just depending how the game's going, like I said, usually the example I'm using is if you have Yugi out on the field, which is probably the better one, like I said. So yeah, if you have Yugi out on the field, you summon the thing, and then you summon one Yugioh, and then if you're going first, you would usually want to summon the Yugioh because it can stop a monster or effect from the specials, or a monster that's special from the extra deck. That's usually the line to play you want to go with. But with this deck, I would recommend going second, just because the Yugioh is really good to attack, and also your the other one, the Dual Avatar Fist and Armored Yugioh. But we'll get to those cards later. But yeah, with this card, it helps you fusion. So that's basically what I'm trying to say with the deck, or with the card. For the next 3 we play triple Dual Avatar Defeating Evil. So this is kind of like I want to say like an Icarus attack for the deck. You target Dual Avatar monster you control, and one card your opponent controls, destroy it. And then if the monster you destroy is a Dual Avatar fusion monster, you can apply an extra effect. You can apply one of these effects. So draw a card or banish a card from your opponent's graveyard. So yeah, so if you really have to destroy your own fusion, you can. Usually I would try to use this with like the Yugi or the feet, because or if you on your Yugi, let's say, because then you destroy that and you can summon out feet from your hand. But yeah, it's just a good card. Like I said, it just helps interrupt your opponent, so that's why I like playing that 3. And also, if you do have to destroy your fusion, you can at least draw a card or banish something from your opponent's graveyard. For the next card we play triple fusion deployment. So with this card, it took me a while to get this card, but finally I was able to get it. It got bought out. But yeah, this card's really good because you reveal a fusion monster in your deck, and you summon one from your hand or deck of the name. So usually with the Yonku, this specifically was Yugi, and then now with the new guy, it shows Kokoku. So now you can summon either or, depending what you have to play, or depending what you're playing against. You can summon either the Yugi or the Kokoku straight from the deck. So in case you don't start out with them, you can at least get them out from the deck easier now. So that's why I play this. You're locked down to fusions with this card. but that's all you're gonna be doing with this deck is fusion. Alright guys, so for the next card we play obviously double invocation because we're playing the Alistair and you get the fuse and stuff. Not much to say about this card other than it's a really good card. And then for the 1-ofs we play 1 Call by the Grave because you want your plays to go through. Terraforming because you really need this perfect sync Aoun because it's not a dual avatar spell like I've said 10 million times. 1 Meltdown just to search out the Alistair and also just kind of maybe bait your opponent into ashing it or whatever. So that's why we play 1 of, and also that way it let's say if you don't have the Aoun, you can at least use it to not have your opponent interrupt your fusion summons. And then 1 Rhoda because you know Yugi and Kokoku are warriors, so we're obviously gonna be playing that at 1. For the traps, we play triple dual avatar return. So maybe you see, if you do see any profiles, you would probably see either 2 or 1. I like playing at 3 just because it recurs back your dual avatar monsters, especially like your Kokoku because whenever normal special summon, you have to add another trap. So this is kind of like a, you know, like the Call of the Haunted for the dual avatars, and also you can summon the token as well because if you summon a level 4 or lower, you can special summon the dual avatar spirit token. You can only activate 1 per turn. But that way you can get like 2 monsters on the field, or let's say you can use it as an offensive card as well. You activate this, send back something from the grave, and you get the token out. It was one of the Yugi or Kokoku, and hopefully you can fusion from there. So, but yeah, that's why I just like playing at 3, just because also that way you don't die as well. And then as long as you properly fusion summon your dual avatar monsters from the extra deck, you can always bring them back. You don't get the token, but at least you can bring them back. So that's why I like playing this card at 3. For the next dual avatar trap, we play double compact. So I like this card because I don't want to play at 3 because I don't want to see too much of it. But we only play 2 just because what this card does is during the main phase, you banish the dual avatar spell and trap from your graveyard, except itself, and it copies that effect. So let's say if you don't have Invitation, Aoun you can't use, but let's say you have Invitation or Return or Defeating Evil in the grave, you banish it, and then this copies its effect. So that's why I really like playing this card, but only 2 up for this deck. Then for the last trap we play triple impermanence. Like I said, if you don't like impermanence, you can play Nibiru. Like I said, if you're gonna go, I recommend going second as a deck. So maybe Nibiru could be a good replacement if you don't have impermanence. Yeah, impermanence, I just like it for this deck because sometimes if you do have your 2 monsters out on the field, 2 fusions that you summon, you want to back it up with something. So that's why I like playing the impermanence. Just stop your opponent's monster effects. And now we go on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 dual avatar empowered Yugioh. We're going to play a lot of the dual avatars. I like playing this at 2. At first I had it at 3, but I kind of had to make space for the last 4 cards we play in the deck. So I just cut this down to 2. But if you want to make it like a very pure version, you could always bump this and the new guy to 3. But for 2 is okay just because I do run the other fusions at 3 because you're most of the time you're gonna have 2 dual avatar monsters out and not 3, so they're just more there just to have like a choice, or like, you know, have more chance to summon those compared to these guys, because you need 3 materials and the other ones are 2, and there's only 2 dual avatar monsters. Compared to this, you need specifically Yugi and 2 dual avatar monsters, and then the other one's Kokoku and 2 dual avatar monsters. So that's my reasoning why I have this at 2. And like I said, for the new guy, 2 dual avatar empowered Matsujaku. So Gonkyo, if you don't know what it does, I'm just going to read it out because it's really long. If this card battles, your opponent can activate cards or effects till the end of the damage step. And if this card attacks, after damage calc, you can return 1 monster your opponent controls to the hand, period. And then when your opponent's spell and trap card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, while you control 2 or more fusion monsters, and like I said, usually first turn you would try to have 2, him and something else, you can negate the activation. So you can only use this effect once per turn. So it's just, this card's really good for going second because you want to start getting rid of your opponent's stuff. But yeah, he's just really cool, and he's 3,000 attack. So he's really cool. And then for the new guy, Dual Avatar Empowered Master Jaku, the first time each Dual Avatar Fusion monster you control would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. So gets a little protection for all your stuff. Once per turn during your main phase, you can return all spell and traps your opponent controls to the hand. So it's kind of like a Hate Trunade or Giant Trunade, whatever it is. When a monster effect is activated on your opponent's field, while you control 2 or more fusion monsters, and like I said, you're usually going to have 2, you can destroy that monster. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it doesn't negate, which kind of sucks, but at least you can get rid of the monster. Right, let him in. He can come in. I stopped right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Gary walked in. That's why I was like, ugh. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. And now we go on to the rest of the fusions. So like I said, I like playing triple Dual Avatar Fist Armored Yugioh. So this one you just need any 2 Dual Avatar monsters, so you can use the tokens as well. And then if this card special summon, you can target an attack position monster your opponent controls, destroy it, but he can't attack. This card can't attack directly for the rest of his turn. So that kind of sucks, but you're usually going to want to try to just get around your opponent's stuff. And then you can only use this effect once per turn. And then while you control a Dual Avatar monster that was fusion summoned using an effect monster's material, all Dual Avatar fusion monsters you control gain 300. So usually if you summon the Empowered Yugioh or the Matsu Jaku properly with the materials it asks for, you can buff everything up with this. So that's usually how you're going to have it with an effect monster. And also itself, once you get into the later game, you'll probably be summoning this with like a Jihu or a Kokoku. So, but yeah, other than that, like I said, I like having this at 3 just because since you're gonna be really restricted into summoning fusions, and because they are light, so they're not dark, you kind of don't have too many options. So that's why I just decided to max it out at 3. And for the next one, we played triple Dual Avatar Feet Armored Yugioh. So this card, if you don't know what it does, is if a Dual Avatar fusion monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, parentheses, you can destroy 1 Dual Avatar monster you control instead. So you can replace it, or direct it to something else to get destroyed if you need to. And then during the main phase, if you control a Dual Avatar fusion monster or fusion summon using the effect monster's material, quick effect, you can target a face-up monster, special summon from the extra deck, negates effect until the end of this turn. So usually, like I said, with the last card I was talking about, if you're usually going to try to have your empowered one out on the field, that one you're usually going to be using a Yuhi, or if you're going to summon Matsu Jaku, you're going to have Kokoku. And usually they're going to be fusion using an effect monster, so that way you can negate something from the extra deck if it survives. But yeah, it's just a good way just to negate stuff, and that's why we play 3 of. It also has a little booty at 25, so, or 21, but it is what it is. And then for the next 2 cards we play, Double Makaba. I'm gonna play Double Makaba because everything is light in the deck, basically. So you can use whatever material for Alistair. If you really want to, you can cut one, and you can put like Purgatrio or Caligo, whatever it is. But because most of the time it's gonna be your stuff, that's why I just do Double Makaba, just because it's a good card as well. And like I said, the whole deck's light, so that's why we play Double Makaba. And then for the last 3 cards we play in the extra deck, if you're able to summon a bunch of stuff without being uninterrupted, you can at least link summon. So I just play a regular access code package, Phoenix, Unicorn, and access code. And yeah, like I said, if probably with the Dual Avatar return, you can summon back 2, you can link into this, and then you can go from there. But they're just there just because, or if you like, you can, because these 3 spots, they're kind of just basically flex spots. So unless you can add in some other fusions you like, or like I said, you don't want to play this, you can add more of the other empowered ones if you like. But there are those chances where you can link. So that's why I play this because if you can get to that point in the game where it's like simplified or whatever, you can summon these guys out pretty easily. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile, you guys. Let me know down in the comments how you like to play your dual avatar deck. It's a very fun deck. I've played it. I've had the chance to play with like Machuca and stuff, and like I said, it's a cool deck. Kind of sucks that it got kind of overlooked when Phantom Mage came out. But I really like the art style and all that stuff. So if you haven't played Dual Avatar, please give them a chance. And like I said, make sure you follow our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll be on the Twitter more, so if you want to talk with me more on there, you can. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.